biology is actually really hard. A-levels are tough. A-level biology is all about application. Hi everyone, I'm Uwa. I'm a first year medical student at the University of Nottingham, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome to the gang. Head over to my Instagram to find out a bit more about me. It's at uwaisibor.com_, and feel free to check out my website, which is just uwaisibor.com, and it'd be great for you to stick around and keep up to date with my uploads and my videos. So for today's video, this is actually a video that I first originally filmed like end of August, start of September, before I moved out to uni, but just everything about it went so wrong. The camera was out of focus, it cut halfway through, I didn't even realise until I came to edit it, and yeah, it didn't go to plan. So I'm here filming it again. It's a video that I hope is going to help you guys, going to find useful, so it does me no harm filming it again. Let's get into it. These are my tips for A-level biology. Although I didn't end up sitting my A-levels because we're in a pandemic, I got an A in my A-level biology, and this is the grade that truthfully I believe I would have got if I was to sit those exams in summer last year. And like, I don't mean to sound arrogant, it's just that I put a lot of work into my A-levels, into all three of my subjects and my EPQ. There's a lot of things that I learned and I improved on. In year 13, when we did like assessments and mocks and tests, I was getting A's and A stars, and that's because I put the effort in and I improved on my mistakes each time. And I'm saying I would have got an A overall opposed to an A star because there are things that I knew that I wasn't too good at. Here's my advice for you guys and things that I did throughout my time at college to help me get that A overall and to help me keep up with the horror that was A-level biology. It's just about been over a year since I last did an A-level biology exam or any A-level exam, so let's see what I can remember. Luckily for you guys, I planned this video around the time that I originally filmed it, and at that point my memory was still kind of fresh. So yeah, let's get on with the video. A-level biology is all about application. What do you know and how well can you apply it? So with saying that, just knowing all the content will at least get you a D. I'm not saying that don't spend time learning the content, you need to know the content, but if you only focus on the content, you're probably only going to get a D. And I'm saying this because with A-level biology, they give you the most abstract, the most obscure and pretty challenging context and exam questions. So yeah, knowing the content is useful, but if you aren't going to devote time to practicing the exam questions and developing your exam technique, then your grade isn't going to improve massively, you aren't going to get pretty far, and that's just an honest thing to say. You want to learn the content and be comfortable with it, but the emphasis on your revision shouldn't solely be on the content. So your revision should be structured as 40% content and then 60% exam technique. And this is something that I really wish that I knew sooner, because at the start of college, the first few weeks, like when you just do like those little like skills assessments, I was doing well on those, and when it came to like the actual A-level questions, I was like, what is this? Because I wasn't focusing my attention and my energy on exam techniques and exam questions. I was just basically doing what I knew from GCSEs, which was to memorise as much content as I could. A-level biology is actually really hard. I feel like it's one of the subjects people pick thinking, oh, I did it at GCSE, it was easy at GCSE, I really enjoyed it, it's going to be the exact same. But honestly, it's just not. I'm not sure if I've said it on my other videos. I always compare A-levels and GCSEs to a walk in the park. So with your GCSEs, that's your walk in the park. Just looking back, so your GCSEs, in comparison to what you're going to do after GCSEs, they aren't too bad, they are pretty nice. And then your A-levels are a walk in that exact same park, just with no legs. A-levels are tough. Okay, so we focus on your exam technique. What you're going to want to do is flashcard exam perfect answers and learn these flashcards. It's all well and good making the flashcards, but if you're not going to sit there and learn them, then you just waste your time. I'd always recommend to do the flashcards as you come across an exam question that you get wrong, because if you say, okay, I'll do it later, the chances of you doing it later are very slim. You're just going to keep on saying, I'll do it later, and you'll never actually do it. You're just going to find that exam boards absolutely notorious for repeating exam questions. They literally will repeat the same question they gave in 2011 and 2014 paper. But you're really going to notice that from doing past papers relentlessly and learning the answers. And that moves on to my next point, complete past paper questions. I advise, as much as you can, complete it under exam conditions, just to emulate the experience of the real exam and to get you prepared for sitting that real exam. Yes, I know for 2021 you're not going to have your full A-level exams, but the years after that, there's no excuses, guys, no slacking. Complete your exam papers under exam conditions. If you don't want to do it under exam conditions straight away, you're just getting into the easier things, I'd recommend using a 3-colour scheme. This is something that I got taught in college. So your 3 colours are going to be, your first colour is going to be completing without notes. What do you know from memory and from your past revision? Second colour is going to be then completing with notes. So once you've gone through without notes and from your revision and from your memory, what can you then add based on your original notes, looking at each different topic? And then finally, your last colour is using the mark scheme. Only use the mark scheme once you attempted these 2 techniques. Then you can identify gaps in your knowledge. Sum it up, use 3 colours, with notes, without notes, and then mark scheme. This is quite a time consuming method, so even if you don't want to complete your past papers like that, complete your past paper subtopic questions using the 3-colour mark scheme method. I had a technique called marks, which I used to use. It's an adapted version of one of Unjaded J's techniques. I've talked about this in another video, so I'll link the video either somewhere on the screen or I'll link it below if you have a watch of. And this is honestly a really efficient way of marking my past papers, because it actually forced me to reflect on what I had just marked rather than giving it a tick or a cross and moving on. So the next thing is you want to be confident with year 1 topics, so both the content and the exam questions. Firstly, because pretty much all the paper 1 for AQA A-level biology is based on your first year knowledge, so that's like 33% of your grade in your pocket if you've smashed your year 1 knowledge. And then also because a lot of the things that you learn in year 2 are built upon year 1 concepts and year 1 topics, so just take the time to make sure that you really kind of ace that first year content, that first year knowledge, because if not, you're going to struggle when it comes to your year 2 stuff. And there's something particularly for year 2, and this I think only applies to AQA A-level biology, is to practice writing essays. So I can't remember the word, it's been that long. I feel like it's synoptic or synoptic, I really can't remember the word, it's something like that. But there's some sort of essays that you write in year 13, and at the time I made the original list, I was then going to film another video telling you how to write these essays. I've not written any sort of essay in nearly a year, so I won't be the best person to advise you on this right now. But you want to have a separate notebook where you're going to put all your year 2 essays, and if you can, give that to your teacher to mark and you see how you can improve on it. And then also there's loads of examples of essays online. Just have a Google of AQA, I'm really sure the word is hypnotic essays, and just read through those, read through top band ones and consider what makes that a top band essay and what makes it so good. Another thing is to learn your essays. You don't have to learn them word for word, but like with exam questions, they are going to repeat the essays throughout the year. It's going to change a few keywords, but you can still apply an essay that you've learned to this new question and make it relevant. Something I can remember about the essays is that each paragraph should be 20% content and 80% the importance of. Even if the question doesn't explicitly say what's the importance of the nitrogen cycle, for example, you're still going to want to talk about the importance of the nitrogen cycle and focus the majority of your paragraph on that aspect of the nitrogen cycle that you're talking about as much as you can. You want to make sure you're making links between your paragraph and also making links throughout the entire course. Okay, so the final tip I have for you when it comes to A-level biology is to know the maths involved. This might seem very basic, but it's just something that can be easily overlooked. So 10% of your exam is going to consist of the maths mentioned specification. Make sure you know that maths, make sure you're solid with it and you understand and you're confident with it. It's actually not difficult math, but it's something that if you don't revise and if you don't take seriously, you're going to lose marks on. And unfortunately, there is going to be other maths involved in your biology exam that isn't going to account for 10%. It's pretty much GCSE level math. They aren't going to test you on any random A-level mechanic or anything that's overly difficult. It's just going to be your GCSE maths. And for me, I was never someone who was good at maths. I never enjoyed it. I shamelessly cried my way throughout GCSE maths, and I fully thought I was going to get a whole med degree without ever having to pick up a calculator in my life. Let's not talk about that, but just practice your maths and biology and get yourself those easy marks. There's a website called Maths Made Easy, and they do loads of revision resources for A-level and GCSE science. They've got a whole booklet full of past exam questions, but just the maths and biology that you can really benefit from. I use that, and that definitely helped me. And it also improved my confidence, because for me, when I'd see a maths question, I'd be like, oh my god, maths, I can't do it. I'm actually like that now with the pharmacokinetics in my med degree. But for my A-levels, when I'd see a maths biology question, I completely panic. But when it came to completing that booklet, I realised that this maths actually isn't that bad, and with more practice and getting used to the scenarios the question presented in, I can actually figure out what's being asked of me, and I can actually do it eventually. In case not made it clear, get confident with the maths involved in A-level biology. So final things, how I revised it. In year 1, it was absolute shambles. I had no proper revision technique, and that's because I didn't really know what I was doing, and like I said, I didn't really understand the importance of the exam technique. I focused so much on content. I made revision posters which just weren't useful for me, and I wasn't really making flashcards. I'd watch YouTube videos, that was okay, but altogether it was my revision technique in year 1 just wasn't very good, and I wouldn't recommend it, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. In year 2 though, I had a far better revision technique, and before I say anything about this, I'm going to give you a disclaimer, and I'm going to tell you that I recommend this is only something that you do if you are sure and you are confident that you can handle it. So what it was that I got ahead. The teacher gave us a schematic of the work for the year, so I would always make sure I was a couple lessons ahead. I would incorporate into my revision time to learn the content and to get ahead of what was being taught in lessons. So effectively, the lessons for me were revision. And this honestly worked so well for me, because like I'm not the kind of person who's going to learn something straight away by reading over it once or by covering it once. I need to constantly revisit stuff and go over it quite a few times before it really sticks in my head and before I completely understand it. It's just the way I work, and that's just how I learn. After I've taken my time to learn it myself at home, the teacher will then go over it in lesson, and like I said, that was revision for me, and that also clarified anything that I wasn't too sure on. And then when I found there was gaps in my knowledge, I would obviously make a note of that, and I'd ask my teachers questions about this so I can benefit from this. And I did this for all 3 of my subjects. Honestly, for me it really worked well. One way I was able to learn all the content was by using Seneca Learning. This is a really quick way of learning the content and just getting through it, and it also tests you throughout to make sure you are taking in what you're reading, not just sat there passively reading it. It's testing your active recall, which is what you want to do when you're revising, obviously. And then something that I've talked about quite a few times is the corner note-taking method, where you split your page into 3 sections. You've got on the right hand side a section that's about like 2/3 of the page, I'd say, and in this part you make brief notes of the topic you'll learn about. On the left hand side you've got the sections 1/3 of the page, and you write down at least 6 questions based on what you've just learned. And then in your bottom part, which is, I don't know, I'm not really good at maths and fractions, say a quarter of the way up from the page, and that's where you summarise everything you've learned. And this is such an effective method, going over what you're learning more than once in a session. You can get a whole page of corner notes done in about 40 minutes, and it's something that I'm using right now in my degree to make my lecture notes. I just learn a lot better using it. It might not work for you, it's not going to work for everyone, but if you do want to try an effective note-taking method, I 100% recommend the corner note-taking method. You're making your notes and your revision notes all in one. In year 2, I also did exam questions, and like I've already said, I made flashcard of the exam perfect answers, and I learned those answers word for word. And this massively helped, because for every single paper 1 A-level biology, if you don't believe me, you can go have a look. The last 3 questions, they are all either 5 or 6 marker questions, and these are just basic content recall. If you learn exam perfect answers, that's you going into the exam with at least 15 or, what's 6 times 3? 18. With at least 15 or 18 marks in your pocket. And 15 or 18 marks is the difference between 2 grades. So you can literally push yourself up a grade just by learning these exam perfect answers. So yes, A-level biology is so hard. It's really difficult, and the grade boundaries notoriously have been low. Obviously can't speak for this year or for last year because there haven't been any, but that doesn't mean you should settle. Still work hard and take on board the tips that I've given you. Thank you so much for watching that video, guys. I've got a bit more energy in me right now. I was absolutely starving. I just went and grabbed something to eat. So yeah, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you did find it useful. Like I said, A-level biology is so hard, but don't give up. stick at it, find out your weaknesses and work on those. That's the only way you're going to get better. For anyone who is sitting mini exams this year, or you're waiting for A-levels next year, good luck with A-level biology. Please remember to like and subscribe. Head over to my Instagram at uwaisibor.com_, and I'll see you guys in my next video.